Okay, this was quite funny actually. But it was funny for me, but not for those guys. But a car just passed with the 4 photographers that I saw earlier standing in the fog, and they stopped next to me, opened the window, and they just said, "Wow, you are in the perfect spot. We were just down there in the fog." And I was just thinking to myself, you noticed? So welcome back to the channel, and I am not in the south of France anymore. You know, I had 2 amazing days around the Gorge du Verdon, and I put a link up here to this videos if you haven't seen that. Absolutely worth watching, especially the first one, I guess. But yeah, my wife wanted to go to Tuscany, and if it was up to me, we probably would have stayed in the south of France for another week. But I decided to go to France, my wife decided to go to Italy, and so yesterday we arrived here in Tuscany. And I said to my wife, okay, if you want to go to Tuscany, I'm fine with it, but I want to choose the location purely based on my interest in photography, and of course it had to be a campsite with enough entertainment for the kids, a swimming pool and playground, all that stuff. So eventually we ended up here in the south of the Val d'Or, which is the most popular area. But if you watch this channel regularly, you know that I don't like to photograph hotspots. I just like to find my own unknown spots. So that's what I'm trying to do here today. I'm just driving in the blind, seeing if I can find something purely based on knowledge of weathers. And while driving here, there was a slight chance of some fog today, and there wasn't much in the beginning, but as you can probably see on the footage that I'm showing while driving around here, it actually looked like there was a cloud inversion a little bit on the western side from where I was driving. And if I want some great shots, my experience tells me I need altitude. So there is a little town on top of this hill here, which overlooks this valley filled with fog, and that's where I'm going. At least that's the plan, and it's facing the opposite side of the sunrise. So if all my experience is right, then we're in for an amazing morning. So hopefully this is going to work out. So I can just pretend that this is all planned and that I based all of this on knowledge, but in fact none of it is true. You know, I just found this amazing spot just by pure luck. You know, while driving up this road that you've seen on the video footage earlier, I passed a group of photographers, I think a 10 or 20 of them, standing next to the road, but sorry, you couldn't see anything. It was just fog. And I was just thinking, I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to continue on. First of all, I hate standing next to other people because I don't like to talk to the camera with them around. So I just drove up the hill for more than 3 minutes, and I found this amazing viewpoint. So let me just turn you around, because just look at this magic. Look at this business here. It is absolutely fantastic. And this is that cloud inversion that I showed you, that I was driving up those hills on the other side, going into this direction when I noticed this cloud inversion, and I knew that with the rising sun on that side, I would be much better off on this side. So I quickly drove through the fog, up this hill, through this little village here, and I just took some amazing shots. So let me talk you through a couple of ones. Right now you can see the sun is behind this cloud, but just a minute ago the sun was in that gap there, creating this magical golden light atmosphere here. That was absolutely fantastic. So let me just turn you around. I've got big white on because I would want to isolate things. First of all, there is a small island here which is a little low. Now it's covered in fog, but just a minute ago it was not covered in fog. Then there's this island over here. It's not an island, of course, but it looks like an island in a sea of clouds, and it looks absolutely magical. And I photographed this one as a pano, so it looked really nice. And then you have this section up here. Maybe I can show you better on the camera. You know, now that the light is gone, it's much easier to take some time and show you what is going on here. So I'll just push the record button here. Hopefully you get a bit of sense of what I'm trying to photograph. So you see this mountain range in the far distance here. There is a bit of fog covered, and I was particularly interested in this little tree. Oh, I can't show you. Let's get a piece of grass here. Maybe I can show you with this grass. I've seen this trick from you, Alban. So you, thank you. So let's see if this works. Well, I think my zoom is a bit further than his, but it's about this little tree up there. And that was the one that really caught my attention. And then I started here to take a pano just a minute ago when all that gorgeous light was hitting these hills, creating this contrast, you know, absolute magic. So can you believe that these are actually my first shots in Tuscany? Really, these are the first shots in Tuscany this year. You know, I'm gonna say it. It's not gonna be better than this, at least. I have no idea. Maybe it is. You know, it's the perfect time of the year. You know, cold mornings, a rain shower every now and then, and all this rain when we arrived yesterday is, while I'm talking to you, I can see the light returning there in the corner, so it will take a couple of minutes, maybe 1-2 minutes before the sun will come back from that cloud and hopefully hit this valley again, because oh man, that was nice, that was nice. But what I love about a location like this is, I'll just stand like this so you can look behind me. What I love in a location like this is I randomly found this spot, and these shots, these are my shots, you know. These are not the shots that you see everywhere on the internet, but this is just, yeah, I think this is the best feeling in photography, when you find a spot totally random that has everything you envisioned in it. And all these shots are unique, You know, the conditions are unique. The location is pretty unique. You know, I had to walk up a part of this road to find this spot, and eventually I just parked the car right next here to the road when I got it back. And yeah, it's just absolute magic. And you can see in the bottom here now that this first island is appearing again. But the negative thing about this first island is that those trees in the foreground here are too close. So I can't really separate that island from the trees in the foreground here. Okay, this was quite funny actually, but it was funny for me, but not for those guys. But a car just passed with the 4 photographers that I saw earlier standing in the fog, and they stopped next to me, opened the window, and they just said, "Wow, you are in the perfect spot. We were just down there in the fog." And I was just thinking to myself, you noticed? So, and I feel so bad for thinking that, but oh my God. Yeah, they're just too late, you know. All the magical light is gone, and I'm willing to wait here. And I'm actually thinking about driving back down now to that spot that they just left, because I think when the fog is going to retreat again, that's going to be a very unique spot. But first, let me show you this image here that I just found. Turn it into the movie mode again so you can see what I'm doing. Turning the exposure down just a little bit. So this is the shot that I'm looking at right now, and you can see this section has a bit of light to it, and I just like this zigzag of fog with those farmlands, building on top. It's a bit wider, my shot, actually, than this. I think there's a little bit more space on the bottom here and on the top, but it's just nice, and that's what I just try to do. I try to work with what I do got instead of complaining about what I don't get. And that's my way of working. And just look at that island now, it's fantastic. Just look down here and you can see that this road of trees is appearing, and it might be the perfect time to go down there. And they just left and going for another hotspot, I guess. And I'm just standing here and thinking, oh, there are so many shots here. There are so many shots. Oh, absolutely amazing. So let me show you this shot. And meanwhile, I'm gonna search for another one. So if there's one tip that I can share with you in a location like this is, I always hear, why do you shoot on a tripod and not handheld? Well, it's actually very simple, because if I shoot on a tripod, then I can shoot panos, and I can shoot focus tags, I can shoot exposure brackets, all that stuff I can do on a tripod. And in a location like this, I'm far more interested in the panos. You know, if you look at this shot, for example, just look at this scene. It's a little bit hazy now because I'm overexposing it a bit to show you. But just look, if you turn the camera to the right, you get a fantastic pano. Now, at this moment, the focus changed a little bit, but a minute ago it was much nicer. And I just envisioned a pano. And what I always do when I arrive in a spot like this, you see my little leveler on my tripod. I always level the tripod out completely, and then I just stand here looking for images. And once I see a pano, I don't have to position my tripod again that it's leveled. No, I'll just point the camera towards it, shoot the pano, and it's done. So always make sure that your tripod is level in a fantastic spot like this. As you can imagine, that last shot wasn't the end of this morning. This trip continued for a while with some epic results, but that's what you're going to see in next week's video. So if you like this video, then please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because there's much more content gonna come. And yeah, I definitely enjoy all your support to this channel. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on next week's video. It's gonna be absolute epic.